Welcome back, CFCHers. We are here for another round of your Mobility Minute. And I got a little sneak peek into this coming week's programming. And we've got shoulder to overheads. We've got snatches. We've got quite a bit of gymnastics on the pull-up bar. And all of those things are gonna require really good T-spine mobility. I think people don't quite understand how important T-spine mobility is. The ability to really extend through the portion of your spine that comprises the rib cage. It's important because when your T-spine is able to extend, you can get your scapulas, your shoulder blades, in a good position to support the arm overhead and thus weight overhead. If we can't get that T-spine to extend, then the shoulder blades can't get in a good position. That's gonna put more torque on the shoulder joint, the glenohumeral joint. It can also put some torque on the inside of the elbow, so if you have some medial elbow discomfort when you do things overhead or maybe in a handstand. Additionally, we may end up hyperextending the wrist to try to get the weight back, and we may even hyperextend our lower back to try to compensate for that lack of mobility in the T-spine. So we're gonna really hone in on the T-spine this week, really trying to focus on getting our extension right, getting us to be able to open up the ribs comfortably. So what you're gonna need today is a little bit of floor space, a little bit of space on the wall, a foam roller, and additionally, if you have a yoga block, that'll be helpful. Now, I'm gonna demonstrate a T-spine opener with a med ball and a kettlebell today. So if you're at the gym, you can use a med ball, kettlebell, but you can also do this with a foam roller, and you just need something to hang on to, like the edge of a couch or the edge of the bed frame. Just something to gain some leverage through the upper body. So we're gonna go through our soft tissue mobilization for the lats and the T-spine, then we'll do an opener for the T-spine, then we'll get on the wall and we'll do some mobilization, and then we will finish it off with a little bit of a strengthening exercise for those T-spine extensors. So if you're ready, we'll get started. All right guys, we're gonna get started by doing a little bit of T-spine roll with the foam roller, as well as getting the lats loosened up. So we'll start in our mid-back, get those pops out. Always feels nice. Arms overhead if you'd like. Get a few long rolls over the rib cage. Just trying to loosen up the erectors, reduce any stiffness. Our goal with foam rolling is just to loosen up, reduce some tension, and try to make the tissue a little more compliant, right? When tissue's stiff and it's cold, it's not very compliant. It doesn't want to move, it doesn't want to stretch. Go ahead, roll to the lat. We'll get into the lat a little bit. Anytime you're doing some kind of soft tissue mobilization, you really want to get the tissue moving, so get a few rolls passively. And then when you're ready, you want to move the arm around. So you can go up overhead. You can also do some rotations. Your lat is an arm extender. It wants to take your arm back behind you. It's also an internal rotator. It wants to roll the upper arm inwards towards your midline. So either of those movements are acceptable. A little bit of rotation, a little bit of arms overhead. Find those sticky spots and try to get it moving. A little sore from our muscle ups on Saturday. Ugh. You can also get it overhead and lift it. If you have pretty good mobility, you're pretty used to foam rolling. Really trying to get that tissue stretched, so taking the arm overhead really stretches that lat. And when you're ready, we'll switch sides. Same thing on this side. Trying to find the tender spots. Get a few passive rolls to start. Foam rolling gets better the more you do it. I tell people all the time, it hurts because you don't do it very often. Additionally, if you're sore, it'll be a little more sensitive. If you get a few passive rolls, move that arm around, get some rotations. We'll go up overhead. You'll notice that the more you foam roll in that moment, it'll get a little less sensitive. That's what you want. You want it to be a little less sensitive to the pressure, as well as freedom of movement, right? Movement should open up a little bit and get easier, even if that foam roller is kind of pushing into you. All right, once you feel like you've gotten enough with the foam roller, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna find our med ball and our kettlebell. Now, like I said, you can do this with the foam roller instead of the med ball. Works the same, but you're gonna set yourself up to where your med ball is about 1.5 feet or so away from your kettlebell, directly in front of it. You're gonna sit in front of the med ball and get that med ball into your T-spine. So even with your ribs, pretty much just a little bit below your shoulder blades. Now you're gonna lift your hips to where you're on top of that med ball, and then you're gonna reach for that kettlebell. Once you grab a hold of it, I want you to straighten your arms and then drop your hips, and if you can, straighten your legs. Now this is really intense. We're gonna try to hold this for about a minute. You can rest your head if you want to, but since I'm talking, I hold my head up. This is really intense. If you need to come out of it, you can. Take a little breather and just go right back into it. We do want to try to keep our arms straight, make sure they're overhead. Additionally, we want to breathe. Make sure you're breathing here. This is going to further open your rib cage. You can grab anywhere on that kettlebell, or like I said, if you're reaching for like the couch or the bed frame, whatever you can just grab onto to kind of hold those arms up overhead. Just try to breathe. Again, you can drop your head. I'm just keeping mine up so I can chit chat with you. Now, if your hands start to get little pins and needles, which is a little bit of lack of blood flow, you can come out of that, shake them out, re-get that blood flow back to those hands, and then go right back into it. Lift the hips, grab wherever you can grab, and then sink back down. This is a great T-spine opener. It's aggressive. If you're doing it with a foam roller, it won't be as aggressive, but it'll be a little more targeted, so you'll kind of feel it more pinpointed into your mid-back. The med ball is nice because you can just relax and kind of lay over it. Just breathe. I'll get one more deep breath, and then when you're ready, slowly come out of that. Woo! You may feel that in the shoulders as well, totally fine. It's gonna be wherever you are kind of the tightest or the stiffest. Our next movement, we're gonna move over to the wall. So you're gonna need a little bit of wall space, and if you have a yoga block, that'll be great. If you don't, it's okay, you can do it without. But yoga block just makes it a little bit better, forces you to move more through your spine. So let's get over to the wall. All right, so we're on the wall for a little T-spine mobility. This is truly more mobilizing. So before we just did a little bit of an opener, it's kind of more of a stretch. Now we're gonna get the T-spine moving. We're gonna use a yoga block. You don't have to use a yoga block. If you don't have one, totally fine. If you're here at the gym, we have the yoga blocks over by the ab mats. You can do this without, like I said, it's just a little bit better if you do because it kind of blocks the pelvis and it prevents you from cheating the drill. It forces you to really rotate through the spine more, which is what we want. So, a little bit of wall space. You're gonna kneel. So one leg down, one leg up. The leg that's closest to the wall is the leg that's down. You're gonna pin that hip against the wall and keep it there throughout the movement. Now with the yoga block, you're gonna take the yoga block long ways and you're gonna pin it against the wall with the knee that's up. Now the pelvis is blocked in place. If you're truly keeping your pelvis against the wall here and the yoga block here, the pelvis isn't gonna move. So maintain contact, arms out in front. This hand is gonna stay against the wall. I may even push into the wall, pinky side, to force me into a little more rotation. So our first movement is just open the book. I'm gonna press my pinky into the wall. I'm gonna follow my hand with my eyes, and I'm really gonna try to touch the wall with both my hand and this back shoulder. The hard part is keeping the yoga block and the hip in contact. So rotating back, try to touch, reach as much as you can, bring it back. Now the bottom hand is going up and around. Now we're gonna face the wall and reach behind me as much as I can without pulling my hip away. So rotating the opposite way. Bring it back, open the book again, reach, 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 reach. Work for it as much as you can. Bring it back, air guitar, keep the pelvis the same. If you can reach well, once you get into this position, try to pull that back hand off the wall. Oh, that's spicy. Bring it back. I'm starting to sweat. Back the other way. Reach, reach, reach. Reach with the hand and the shoulder. It's like you're trying to get your shoulders flush with the wall. Bring it back. Air guitar. Pull it off. Oh, deep. Keep the pelvis the same. Let's get one more. Rotate, reach. Oh gosh. Bring it back. This is my easy side too. Air guitar. Face the wall. Pull that back hand off. Woo. Bring it back. I'm out of breath. All right, let's switch sides. Again, set up. Leg that's closest is down. Hip is against the wall, yoga block. Hand between the wall and the knee that is up. We're gonna start arms out in front of us. Make sure you're nice and tall. I didn't mention that earlier, but we do wanna make sure that we're sitting tall. We're not like hinging at the hips, trying to cheat by twisting in the lower spine. So from here, hands out in front. Again, press this hand into the wall. Reach back. Oh, this is my good side. Bring it back, air guitar, reach behind, face the wall, keep the pelvis the same. Lift that back hand off the wall if you can. Bring it back around. Again, press this hand into the wall, open that book. Pelvis stays the same, maintain that hip contact. Try to get this shoulder to the wall, the pinky to the wall, bring it back. Here we go, up and over. Reaching, now pelvis, this is the hard part, pelvis stays here. Pull that hand off the wall on the back side. Reach, reach. Ideally, I'd be looking back at my hand, but I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Open the book. Reach, reach, reach. Oh my goodness. Bring it back. You should feel like you're wringing your spine out. Your spine is twisting and you're working for it. You're engaging. I'm struggling to even talk. Let's get one more. Open the book. Keep the hips the same. Bring it back, up and over. Keep the hips the same, hands off the wall. Oh goodness, bring it back. I'm sweating. We haven't even gotten to like the strengthening part yet, and I'm already out of breath. Okay, next part, part 2, 3, wherever we're at. We're gonna be on the floor, so we probably wanna grab a mat for this next part. All right, now that we've done our immobilization on the wall, we're gonna go ahead and do a T-spine movement that's gonna help strengthen the extensors of the T-spine. We've done variations like this in class, and if you're in my mobility class, we did a variation like this. Today we're gonna do a variation that's actually a little bit harder, and you can't cheat it as easily. And that's important, right? I wanna force movement through the T-spine. I wanna force the right muscles to do their job and activate and get that T-spine extended. So you're gonna need a mat probably because you're gonna be laying face down. Now when we get here, we're gonna extend one arm overhead and then the other arm is gonna reach behind my head and I'm gonna hold it there. The movement is gonna be for me to lift and then try to rotate and point that elbow to the ceiling without coming off of my tummy or rolling my whole body. I'm gonna keep my pelvis on the floor. We're gonna get about 5 or 6 of these and then we'll switch. Again, hand behind the head, we're gonna lift, and then we're gonna rotate, try to point that elbow at the ceiling, come back down. Take a breath, and then we'll do it again. Lift, rotate, reach as hard as you can. I'm shaking, this is very difficult. Come back down, relax. Make sure that when you're rotating, you're following your elbow with your eyes. We've got about 3 more, so lift, and then point. Oh man. Come back down. Notice I'm holding for a few seconds before I come back down. I really want to try to get into that position and be strong there. Lift, point. Follow the eyes. Follow the elbow with the eyes. Come back down. One more time. Lift. Point that elbow up. You should feel your mid-back kind of screaming. It's working hard to try to get that position. I'm gonna flip around so you guys can see me, but we're going through the same thing here. So again, arm extended, hand behind the head. I'm pointing the elbow out to the side, lift, reach. Notice I'm much better on this side. Almost everybody is gonna have a dominant side where they're just a little more mobile. Nothing wrong with that, but we do wanna try to even that out. Reach, reach, reach. Really feel your mid-back muscles working here. Hold it. 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Back down. Let's get 2 more. Lift. Rotate the elbow to the sky. It's always crazy to me how much better my right side is than my left. Really struggle to get that left elbow up. Good. Feel free to do another round of that, especially if you struggled. Usually the more you do it, the easier it gets, the better it gets, the more you open up, the stronger you get. So I recommend doing this little routine 2 or 3 times this coming week. Do it before, do it after, do it in between, wherever you can fit it in. It's really gonna help you this week, holding that weight overhead, doing those gymnastics movements. And we'll see you next week.